This is Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee, all tangled up in the cables. Let's see if I can untangle. There we go. Okay, getting a late start today. 24th of December, 10:11 in the morning. We had rain last night, 58 degrees, just cloudy today, high 64. They're not talking much about rain today, so last night I was sitting outside. I checked 2 weather channels just to make sure. I do that pretty regularly, and they both tell me no rain for the next few hours, right? I'm sitting out there with the dogs and I hear thunder and all. I say, oh my gosh, so I pack up my chair that I sit outside on and bring it in the house. I bring the dogs in and then I hear the rain. All right. We got some good stuff to cover today. We're going to do Bible also, cover the law and daughter of Babylon stuff. And I want to go into the live stream and make sure everything's okay, put some posts up, and get going. Looks like we're good. And let me get my posts up while people come in. That'll be quick. Get my email up there. That'll be it. Feel free to administer tossed salad to these people that come in with the nasty remarks, okay? Alright, so I'm going to do some praise and we'll get going. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 All right. Last night we got hit by the Houthis. We threatened them. We threatened to bomb Iran because of what they're doing, the Houthis in Yemen. And they sent some missiles, possibly drones, towards Tel Aviv. The red alerts went off in a large, broad area around Tel Aviv because we worry about the takedown shrapnel. So we knock them down with interceptor missiles, and then the pieces break up and they could fall and hit people. So we do red alerts in a broad area. And we took all the stuff down. 20 people got hurt running to the bomb shelters. What do they call it? A mob or something? 20 people. Now, this happens periodically over many years in Israel. And the real way to go to the bomb shelter is to walk calmly and briskly, not to run. People run, injuries or ankles, knees, stuff like that. They could fall and scrape their hands, elbows, whatever. The Houthis are now in dire straits with Israel. they were announcing, that their response to us threatening to bomb them is another attack on Tel Aviv. All right. Now, these people, the Houthis, you have to understand, are clinically insane, psychotic, delusional lunatics, obsessed with their own death and martyrdom and the death of other people. It's a death cult. Their own death and the death of other people. They're completely out of their minds. They're out of their tree. They're nuts. They're nutbags. They're lunatics. You got it? And they're also serial killers, torturers, and brutal people. I put on my Telegram, and it was yesterday, a video of a woman that refused to wear her hijab in Syria, not Yemen, Syria. And 2 members of her family were hitting her with sticks in the street in front of everybody. While she was on the ground, they were kicking her. She was screaming for help, nobody came. See, in the doctrine of their religion, it's clearly stated that the woman is like the devil. Okay? So the reason they are allowed in their faith to hit women, like punch them in the mouth, kick them, stuff like that, hit them with sticks, is because you have to be, to their thinking, you have to be very firm and inflict pain and punishment to get them to stop, because they're like the devil. No women's rights organization of any substance is speaking out substantially about this, is there? You don't hear nothing about it, do you? No. No. They circumcise women. I'm not going to do the details of that here, but it's very painful. Sometimes they could get it done in, good condition with an anesthesia, and many times it's done with a double-edged razor blade on the kitchen table, and they do it with young girls, 9, 10, 11, whatever, and they scream. It's so painful and brutal. It's just horrible. It's horrible. And there's nothing in the Bible about that. So Netanyahu's trying to raise a coalition of other nations to hit Yemen because of what they're doing with the shipping in the Red Sea. And he's probably going to have some success, maybe not, maybe yes, but it's going to take weeks. And Yemen is on a dedicated path of insanity. Now, let me tell you what happened. There's been clashes reported between the, let's call it, the official Yemen government, the army and police, I guess it's those two, I assume, against the Houthi rebels in Yemen. Now, we don't know the full extent of this yet. This is not really easy to get good news reports out of Yemen on stuff like this, but the clashes are being reported. Now, why? This is what I told you. These attacks are like what we did in Lebanon. It's an effort to get the regular Yemen government to get rid of the Houthis. Not murder them, get rid of their weapons. You see, the only very effective way to demilitarize the Houthis or any one of these other crazy groups is to go in on the ground. Which is what we did in Lebanon, which is what we did in Gaza. And that's what the rebels in Syria did when they took it over. They went on the ground. Airstrikes can be disabling, but these people use a lot of tunnels and underground storage facilities, underground command centers, things like that. And you really got to go in, with a lot of airstrikes, a lot of artillery, a lot of armor and troops. And we've been doing that in Gaza for a long time, and they're still kicking. So nobody wants to assemble, a multi-billion-dollar expeditionary force of 100 or so thousand soldiers with 900 tanks and, all of this, and go in to Yemen on a campaign to rout them out and take a lot of casualties. So the destruction of various port cities, infrastructure, like airports, electricity, stuff like that, is going to be very painful on the Yemen government. If you blow up an electric generator plant, the Houthis aren't going to go fix it. The government does. The same with bridges, railroads, ports, piers. So the reason for the clashes is obvious. The Yemen government, the proper government, is coming to the realization that parts or most of Yemen are going to look like Gaza if the Houthis don't stop. So they're telling the Houthis, you're ruining our country. Now the Houthis are getting a nice wage from Iran. So they're probably living a rather good lifestyle. Dedicated psychotics in a cultish group of psychotics going around killing people. And they don't want to stop. So this is the beginning of the pressure. And as the attacks mount, the Yemen government's going to really want to attack them. Because they don't go to the Yemen government and say, hey, is it okay with you if we attack Israel, and shipping of 90% of the countries in the world, are you okay with that? They don't do that. They just do what they want to do. So I would say before the end of the week, Israel will do another airstrike. But these airstrikes are complicated. Let me give you some insights. An airstrike that will be serious by us is probably 70 to 100 aircraft. Okay? That's a lot. We'll probably need 25 to 30 air refueling tankers. Israel may have a dozen, so they're going to need to get some. They could get around it with a dozen if they just went in waves, I suppose, but they have to update the target packages almost by the hour, because these idiots move missiles and weapons around. So they need constantly updated target packages to make sure they're not hitting empty holes in the ground that used to be a storage facility. Now, I would say by the end of the week we'll have hit them big. But I guarantee you that's not going to stop them. I guarantee you they got weapons hidden that we can't find. or we won't be able to find. I'm quite sure. But the damage is going to get the Yemen government more and more irritated with them. And they need to be irritated enough to the point where they start confiscating and or destroying the weapons the Houthis have. And that could lead to a war between the Houthis and the regular government. Which is good for the rest of the world with the shipping in Israel, because then they won't be able to do any attacks externally outside of Yemen. There's talk that Yemen may start up with Saudi Arabia next door. The Houthis are moving their troop positions around in Yemen. They're probably afraid of a ground invasion from the sea. A large number of Israeli politicians in office, including the defense minister and Benny Gantz and Netanyahu, are saying the way to deal with the Houthis is to hit Yemen every time the Houthis strike. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to ignore Yemen. They'll hit Yemen too, I believe. American intelligence told us that they have intel that Iran is preparing to attack Israel before January 20th, Trump Inauguration Day. And it's supposedly a retaliation for something in the past and a preemptive strike to stop us from attacking them over what Yemen does. Now, America has been wrong before. Quite a few times they warn us of an attack from Iran and nothing ever happens. 5, 6 times already. It's quite a bit. I'm not saying America fakes these warnings. I doubt it. I think the Iranians back out. They get scared. Now the big question is, did Iran get new radar systems in that are operational and he could guide missiles with them and stuff like that? I think not. But we don't know. It's very simple. If they did replace their radar with new radar or rebuilt it or whatever, we'll just blow it up again, and then the attack marches on. Attacking Saudi Arabia is just a way to punish the world, so to speak, to get Israel to stand down. It's just nonsense. Now, Egypt's got civil unrest too. I told you, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Yemen got problems. In Egypt, there's protests in the streets, and it sounds like a warm-up from the Muslim Brotherhood, who can likely overthrow Sisi, the head of the Egyptian country. So we don't know how bad it is in Egypt. I don't think it's that bad yet. Trump is saying Turkey did an unfriendly takeover in Syria. But he didn't take all of Syria over. But he did something. Trump is not gunning for Turkey. Trump is saying they're good buddies, they get along well. So I don't know. The Panama Canal, the government of Panama said the Panama Canal is ours for now and forever. Trump said we'll see about that. That's a pretty dark remark. Now, if Trump says 3 or 4 warships down there with, I don't know, 3,000 to 5,000 soldiers, if he even needs that many, and some tanks and armored Humvees and armored personnel carriers and air defense missiles, various things, artillery. It's easy. He could hold the Panama Canal. He put a picture on his social media of the United States Canal. In his media picture, he changed the name. Now, this is a weird one. First of all, Trump is saying that the Panamanians are charging exorbitantly high fees to American ships. This is exactly the kind of thing they do. They take advantage of America and they really hate America. Not everybody in Panama, probably 95% of them really have a dislike for America and will exploit any and all American company they can, any and all Americans they can. Just stuff like this. So, Panama built the second canal. We gave them the first one, the small one. They built another bigger one that could handle big ships. And that they did. America didn't give them that. But Trump has apparently taken that back. Maybe Trump is just trying to scare Panama into saying we're going to reduce the price of the shipping to the Americans and put it on par to other countries. Panama is mad, and they can't do anything about it if Trump does it. Or can they? Let's talk about Greenland. Now, Greenland would be a buffer zone for America against China, Russia, North Korea, etc. Okay? You can put 1 or 2 Navy bases there, 2 or 3 airstrips there, radar there, missiles there, all kinds of stuff. That would help protect America from things coming from the Arctic, Northeast area and stuff like that. All right. Mexico. Trump's talking about bringing Mexico into the United States. Now, if you're not getting scared or confused with Trump making these remarks, pinch yourself, it's real. How the heck is Trump going to annex Mexico? What the advantages are, if he controls Mexico, that's the end of illegal immigration. Maybe they sneak into Mexico in the south or something like that, but they don't get up into America. Plus, he's probably thinking of curtailing the flow of drugs. Trump's about money, and the flowing of illegal drugs into America is very expensive. To America. America searches perhaps 1 or 2% of the container ships. That's it. To curtail the drugs, Trump would have to search probably 30 to 50%. So we wouldn't find all the loads, but we'd find enough to make it very expensive for the cartels. The cartels, to a great extent, run and control Mexico. And they don't want this. Mexico doesn't want to be part of America. And do you understand what that would do to America, how it would ruin America? If you made Mexico a state, everybody living in Mexico, that's a Mexico citizen or a permanent resident, could just walk over into America, rent or buy a place to live, and get work, anything. Things are weird. I can't imagine what's making Trump do this. Buffer zone. My take is to get Greenland and Mexico into the United States would take Trump a few years. You know, unless something extraordinary happened, like in Syria, which took 11 days. So we don't know. These are end times, but I don't know what America would look like if you let all these Mexican citizens in. It'd be pretty dismal, I think. Now, Canada. Does Canada want to be part of the United States? I don't think so. They like the military protection that they get being adjacent to America, but they're not interested in becoming Americans. I never met a Canadian who wanted anything like that. So what is Trump doing? Well, Trump is making more enemies for America. Panama, Mexico, Canada, and Denmark that owns Greenland. They get scared enough, they're going to think they have to stop Trump. How do you stop Trump? Let's say you're Mexico or Canada. You call China and Russia up on the phone and you say, hey, we're scared, help us. China and Russia aren't going to pick up the phone and tell Trump they're going to bomb Mar-a-Lago. What they'll do is they'll put military and naval bases, Air Force bases too, China and Russia would, in Mexico, with really good access into America for missiles and everything else. Now, to put Mexico into the United States would take years, voter referendums, some kind of voting in Mexico and in America, then working out terms and treaty negotiation and then implementing it. Ah, come on. You're never going to see that prophetically, I don't think. I don't think time allows for anything like that. What about a sudden, overnight, incorporating them into the United States? Well, could be done, I guess. I think it's a long, drawn-out process. And but he's scaring the bejeebus out of Mexico, Canada, Greenland, and the Panama Canal. He's scaring the daylights out of them. And what are they going to do? They can immediately reach out to get help from China and Russia by having them put bases up. So now China and Russia got missiles, drones, tanks, everything else, planes, boats, on the north of America and in the south of America. So is Trump trying to destroy America too? No, I don't believe that. I don't think so. I think Trump wants his wealth protected, which is heavily in America. Having buffer zones like Greenland, Mexico, and Canada means that a lot of the battles defending America might be fought in these buffer zones, Canada, Mexico, and Greenland, not on American home soil. So I doubt Trump has any real investments he cares about in Mexico or Canada or Greenland. So there you have it. To annex them would be difficult, may never come to pass. It would take years to see if it's going to go or not. Yet, scaring these people to the point where they're going to offer military bases to China and Russia. And we know that America is going to be attacked from all sides. So this sounds to me like it could be a Jeremiah 50:51 fulfillment, where they invite the enemy armies in to set up bases to preemptively stop Trump. And it's a golden opportunity for China and Russia to have missiles pointed at America and drones. It's tit for tat for NATO being on Russia's borders. And I think Trump pulled the trigger on this one. By talking about it. Now, with Panama, I don't think he has any interest in annexing Panama. He just wants the canal. That's going to require soldiers and an Air Force and a Navy. Let's see what happens. Trump may back off on this and shut up, or he may not. Hamas with the prisoner exchange and ceasefire. No list has been given to Israel of the hostages that are supposedly alive. So I would say now the ceasefire is stuck in mud that's not this deep, like, 4 feet deep. We don't know how many hostages are alive. They might be wanting to write a deal. Well, we'll give you back all the living hostages when you withdraw, blah, blah, blah. And then Israel withdraws, let's say, hypothetically, and they turn over 3 hostages. Oh, by the way, those are the only living ones we had. We couldn't tell how many we had. We're sorry. And Israel looks like an idiot. The terrorists in Gaza threatened us with the hostages. I think it was yesterday or the day before. They said some of the hostages are in the active combat zone in Gaza. And if you keep attacking, you're going to wind up killing them. Well, it's a double-edged sword. One side of the sword is, if you keep attacking, you're likely going to bomb and missile and artillery attack a building that we have hostages in and kill them. The other side of that is, if you keep attacking us, we're going to just kill the hostages. And that's the approach they're going to use on Trump, saying they'll be hell to pay. And what does Trump do? If he just says, we don't negotiate with terrorists, I'm going to push right through. I don't know what Trump, Trump is getting out there, guys. He's getting out there. Now, America is very vulnerable for an attack. I would say in about 8 or 10 days. There's 2 high vulnerability points for America. One would be probably around January 5th or the 8th or something like that, very close to Inauguration Day. Because if such an attack happened on America or America assets or NATO or whatever, the Biden administration would have not even 2 weeks to deal with it. So what are they going to do? Likely tread water until Trump gets into office, and then, the Biden administration could just run the war till the 20th, and they got to turn it over to Trump. So they would be very confused. They wouldn't want to be that aggressive, or maybe they would be. I don't know. It would be bad. And then it's even worse when Trump gets inaugurated. Why? Because Trump's inheriting the people running the war machine, the generals, defense ministers, and all this stuff. His cabinet are Biden's people, which are Obama's people. So Trump has to change those, but he has to get congressional approval. He's putting 10 billionaires into these offices. 10 billionaires. Do you know the billionaires made a lot of? Elon Musk made about a quarter, roughly 240 something thousand billion dollars, 2024. And there's a lot of the billionaires that made 10 billion, 30 billion, 50 billion, staggering sums of money, where the regular working people in America have to sweat paying their rent and their utility bills. These clowns are building multi-billion-dollar currency. The billionaires are the deep state, kids. Don't get that wrong. Maybe there's conflicting deep states, but they're still deep state. So when Trump gets in, if there's a war going on, he is so ill prepared. You have no idea. Or maybe you do. Be a disaster. How long would it take for Trump to hit the ground? If he hits the ground with boots on the ground running, how long? Well, say in 6 weeks he has all his people approved by Congress holding the job, and then what do they do? These are not people that had the job before. They don't know what the heck to do. They got to start changing the managers. So they're the head of, let's say, Department of Education, just to pick one, right? They don't know anything about it. Does the Department of Education teach anything? No. Does the Food and Drug Administration make drugs? No. He's got to get his people into these positions, and then they got to get their people into the high-level positions. Then and only then can they start implementing policy changes. And that, I'd say you're probably looking at March or April till that happens. And you got wars going on in the Turkey's in really dire straits, especially if they start the war with the last few days of Biden. It'd be a nightmare, and that could be what's going on. And then Trump seems to be throwing kerosene on the fire without knowing it. By we want to make Canada and Mexico part of America and Greenland, and my gosh, he's scaring the daylights out of our neighbors that are going to believe him, and they could run to China and Russia and North Korea and Iran, or they're not going to go to Iran, but they would go to China and Russia for help. Let me go look at the live stream to see if we got to get rid of something here. It's the money, yeah. Someone says never gonna get us, we Canadians won't stand for it. Why should you? Life's not gonna be great if you become a state in America. I don't think you're gonna enjoy it. You'll lose your gun control, you'll have guns, that's for sure. But it's ridiculous. I don't get it. What Trump might wind up doing with Mexico is putting a buffer zone in, going 25 or 40 miles into Mexico and saying this territory is now under U.S. military control. If you want to challenge that, we'll start with the bombings right now, and just get the Mexicans to move out of there, and there's no more illegal border crossings and stuff like that. But again, years to implement. I don't think we have enough time. But we'll see what happens with this. And we'll see what Israel does with Iran and Yemen. But America's going to keep hitting Yemen too. They're not letting go. And all these roads are leading to Iran. They're going to get hit. They got to get hit. They're going to get hit. I'm checking my notes. I'm curious to think of what Trump's retort is going to be to Hamas threatening to kill the hostages. I don't know what Trump's going to say about that. If he comes up, well, you kill the hostages, we'll kill you, that Hamas will say, great, we'll get our 70 virgins, no problem. The attack from Iran is supposed to be before Trump. That might be, because there's other things that might happen before Trump gets in. So I would say in another week or so, you're going to be in very, very dangerous waters. Okay. Today is the 24th. Tomorrow, so we go into Christmas Eve in America and I guess Europe. Now remember, the Russian Orthodox, they don't observe Christmas on the 25th. They're more like 2 or 3 weeks advance, so they'll be sometime in January. And they also don't do Santa Claus. They have the Snow Queen. It's like a female Santa Claus-ish, roughly, but not with the reindeer and the sled and the presents. Some other mythological lying nonsense. So they're not that impressed with December 25th. They have Christmas, but it's in January. Maybe they don't do the sun god Tammuz on their Christmas. They might do Zeus or Neptune or something. I don't know, But okay. And Hanukkah is on the 25th. Hanukkah begins the evening of the 25th. So Christmas is finished in the evening, but it's still Christmas Day, But I imagine the way they celebrate it in America and Canada, those that celebrate it, which is not us, they get up in the morning and they go to their Jeremiah 10 Christmas tree, presents, and then they hang around the house, and the kids play if there are kids, and then they go to a Christmas dinner where people come to them for a Christmas dinner. Generally, it's a turkey or a ham. Although you could have hamburgers and hot dogs and steaks, and then you hang around and get lackadaisical from eating too much, and then they go home. So we got a double whammy, sort of, because if the terrorists are going to rise up, you're getting Jews on Hanukkah, and you're getting Christians on Christmas. So be careful what you do today and tomorrow. I guess in America the stores will close by 5 o'clock, if I remember correctly. It's been many years, but I think the supermarkets and McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, Pizza Hut. I think they're generally going to be shutting down from 2 or 3 till 5 or so in the evening, and that'll be that. And then I don't know who's open on Christmas Day. Some of the fast food places and restaurants do open. So there might be open places there on Christmas Day. I don't know. But I'd be careful. And then the 26th is a very dangerous day because people flood into the malls, to the stores, to exchange and return gifts. So also they start selling stuff on sales. So you got to be careful. That could be another day. That could be a problem. So you got to watch this. Be careful where you go. I think if you're in the smaller cities, you don't have much of a problem. I think the emphasis would be to hit the big cities of New York and Atlanta and LA, maybe San Francisco or Chicago, Boston or something, the big cities. That's what they'll probably go after. So remember that America is extremely vulnerable right now, and it gets worse. And the vulnerability is not going to really lift until you get to March, April, something like that. So, Putin wants to talk with Trump. And I imagine Trump wants to talk with Putin about putting the Ukraine fight down. They might figure out a way to do that. I don't think they will, but they might. Now there's a prayer request. Okay, we got a prayer request. It's for a dog, and we do pray for dogs and cats and birds, and we do very well with these prayers. The dog's name is Maisie. I guess you would spell it Mayze, Maisie, or Mazi. I don't know, Maisie. And the dog is going for a surgery today, to get fixed, hysterectomy. So pray the dog has minimal pain or no pain, and the surgery has a good outcome, because sometimes they screw this up. So pray Maisie the dog has a good surgery today. She's getting fixed, and no pain, and everything works out well for Maisie the dog. That's the only prayer toss for course I got today. Okay. There's rumors, I can't get a hard confirm on this, that Putin negotiated with Erdogan from Turkey, and now he's staying in Syria with his bases in the Latakia area. Now, I haven't heard the Syrian government, the new rebels that took over, say that this is the case yet. So, this could be more nonsense. I don't know. America would certainly want Putin out of Syria and persuade the government in there that it's in their best interest to make sure Putin goes away. And so I haven't gotten a confirm on this that I believe. So let's see what happens. Bashar Assad's wife was allegedly divorcing him. It was in the media that she's divorcing him in Russia, and then she's going to move to the UK where she originally came from. Anyway, the Russian government came up and said that's an untrue statement. There is no, she's not divorcing the guy. So Bashar Assad's still married. Bunch of lunatics, those people. Thank you for all the greetings, people. What else? Let's see. Go on my notes. If Israel goes and hits the nukes in Iran, that's a complete waste of time. It's not going to stop Iran from their shenanigans with the proxies, and it's not going to stop the proxies. Iran will just say, oh, gee, we'll build new nukes. If you hit their oil and gas industry, that will do it, because you'll hurt them economically. But I say this to you, any significant attack, and there are going to be significant attacks on Yemen from Israel, believe me. It is going to have the effect, well, if we attack Iran, I should say, significantly, I meant that, we will get the revolutionary forces in Iran to fight against the mullah's government, Ayatollah Khomeini's government, and that's going to weaken Iran significantly, setting them up for the coup d'etat. Okay, that's what will happen. Coup d'etat, they're going to overthrow. But I don't think they're ever going to really overthrow Iran. I think Iran's just going to put the tanks in the street and mow them down until they go home. Martial law, they'll have snipers at the protests killing them. They'll go to people's houses, they'll disappear, they'll say you're coming with us and you'll never see these people again. All the Gestapo crap. If Israel hits the oil and gas industry of Iran, Iran will begin circling the drain. I don't think Iran's circling the drain now. They're very, very weak and vulnerable. Hit their oil and gas, they'll start circling the drain. What are they going to do for money? Israel could also hit ports in Iran, which is, without killing the oil and gas, just kill the ports. So until they rebuild the ports, they can't make any money exporting oil and get. Well, they got pipelines, but their cash flow will be interrupted massively. Okay, I want to talk about Israel redemption and the law, a few other things. Let's talk about kids that are single, grown kids, like they're 16, 19, 22, you know, they're going to get married, right? Because, again, number one, it's going to be about God, okay? After it being about God, then it's going to be about your family and your fellow Israelis. God's going to be numero uno, probably the family nuno dos, and tres, or three, will be the other people in Israel, but the family and the other people will be about a tie. It'll be very important to shore up your neighbors and stuff like that if they need help, okay? Very important. Because everybody's a believer. So, kids want to get married. They want to have family. They want to move on to your land, put a house up. One way to do it is you build more rooms on your house. You got a girl and she moves into the boy that she marries' parents' house, and they put up a living room, a bedroom, a bathroom, a kitchen, another bedroom for kids or something, and they might attach it to the house, or they might put it, 100 feet away or something. You're gonna have land, and the kids move in. It's all about family. Not all. It's God first, and then family and friends and neighbors. You get that? Okay, God always first, but the family and your neighbors and friends in Israel are very important too. Okay, so the kids want to get married. So do you let them do what they do today? Go out on dates and stuff like that? You don't know where the heck they are. You don't know what's going on. And what does that lead to? It leads to what? Physical contact, drinking, having casual, light, non-intercourse sex, and then intercourse, stuff like that, right? No. How do you do it? Well, let's take a look at how the ultra-Orthodox do it. Not that we're going to do what they do, but they got some good ideas. What they do is the kids are going to... Now, remember, there's going to be a pretty decent emphasis on marrying people in your own tribe. The guy and the girl, are going to go to somebody's parents' house to meet. Okay, so how would that work? There's a living room. So the parents are home, maybe brothers and sisters. It doesn't matter whose parents' house it is. The two kids are put in, say, a sitting room or a living room or a dining room alone, but the door of the room is wide open, and they're in the next room, okay? And they're not trying to eavesdrop on the conversation. I don't think they should. Conversation is conversation. But the kids are not going to start having physical contact with, you know, bright lights and the doors to the room open and someone can walk through. Then it's not going to do it. Okay? Whereas if you let them go out in the backyard in the dark and swing on the love seat and nobody's around, well, that's another story. Okay? Or if you let them go get in the car together and take a trip somewhere and they stop by the lake, put the radio on, and there you have it, right? So the dating isn't like that anymore. We're not going to encourage lascivious behavior and petting and immorality and intercourse and oh no, we're not going to do that. Okay? So the kids meet in front of the parents, or one set of parents, or both sets of parents, and you leave them alone, and they can sit there for whatever you want. They want to sit there and talk for 3 hours. It's talking. You want to give them tea, you want to give them coffee, you want to give them cheesecake, you want to give them pizza, you want to give them ice cream, you want to give them M&Ms. That's a bad choice. It's garbage, but, you know, and they could sit there and talk. You know, one's on a sofa, or one's on a chair, another one, you know, they're facing, or you know, whatever. They're not sitting in a love seat snuggled up to each other. That's how you do it. Now, if you think we're going to go down to the Sea of Galilee and we're going to have people down there wearing songs and bikinis and I forget what they call the equivalent that the guys wear, you know, those abbreviated small bathing suits, and everybody's going to run around, you know, naked except for a few scraps of cloth. Sorry. That's the daughter of Babylon. That's Europe. That's not America. That's not Israel. That's not it. Okay? They're not going to be a co-ed beach. Okay? And the concept of going scantily clad and running around on the beach is not going to happen. Okay? Now, back around 1900, 1920 in America, people wore basically a lot of clothing when they went to the beach. You could go look it up in Google. So women wore a bathing suit that looked a lot like a bulky dress. And men wore usually shorts down to the knee area and some sort of an upper shirt. So, I mean, it might revert to something like that where there's a modest bathing attire that the people wear and then they don't have a segregated male-female beach. That could work, I guess. You know? I mean, if you had a t-shirt and Levi's on and you decided you wanted to go to the beach and wear, you know, I don't see a problem. So you're wearing regular clothes. Oh, so the regular clothes are wet. So what? You have to make sure your t-shirt has, you know, a color in it, like blue or black or dark red or something, you know, so you don't have a see-through effect. You could have that, but, you know, when you're talking ships of Tarshish, we're not going to have songs and bikinis and stuff out there at the pool. We're not going to have that. Okay? If somebody has clothes on and they want to lay down on a shea lounge by the pool, tan their face or something, have fun. Don't burn, but have a good time, you know. Can kids that are really small, could they run around, you know, like, you know, you wouldn't want to have a kid that's 2 years old go to a public sprinkler thing naked and run around, you know. You got a lot more room with small toddler children that don't have common sense, you know, but we're not concerning ourselves with that, concerning ourselves with the young people that are thinking to get married. So they would sit and meet in one of the parents' houses, and it could be an uncle's house if you wanted to do whatever, right? Some responsible Bible believing adult's home, and they could talk and talk and talk and see if they want to pursue a relationship. And they have a policy of where they say, you know, they make fun of the secular Israelis. They say, oh, I'm in love, and then they get married for love. And, you know, the divorce rates are very high, usually like 50%. What they do is they say they do this, they meet the other person and they talk and get to know each other, which might be 3 to 5 meetings. It's not a long process. And if they like the way the person looks and they like the way the person talks to them and their ideas and what they want in life and all that stuff, they get married and then they love the one they married. Now, you might see arranged marriages come back somewhat. I don't think blindly, I don't think we'll have that. But I think you might have, you know, hey, Andrew's family, and, you know, why don't you sit down and meet with him and his son and to see if you guys would get along, you know, he wants to meet you, he thinks you're pretty, you know, this thing would probably be out there. Are we going to have restaurants? I think so. Are we going to have a police as we know it today? No. Are we going to have district attorneys and prosecutors and courts? No. 70 counselors, they're going to do the judging. You're not going to have these crackpot. Nobody's going to be a lawyer going to law school trying to do things in the law you can't understand. All that stuff is out the window. You got a case against somebody you want to make, you go talk to the counselor, state your concern, and you make your case. That's how you do it. You know, none of this nonsense is going to go on. Okay? None of it. Will we have an army? At times, I believe we will. Before New Jerusalem, anyway. But it'll be, I believe, a volunteer type of thing. Are we going to have banks and credit cards and checks? No. Because they're sinful. They're not supposed to charge usury to will there be shops? Sure. Jewelry, perfume, and incense should be very big, by the way. Should be a big deal. Clothing, we're not going to wear strange clothing. You're not going to wear a 3-piece suit as a man with a collared shirt and a tie. That ain't happening. We're going to wear those robe type, tunic type garments that come down in modest. That's what's going to be. Okay? We're not going to wear strange clothing. Will these things come in different colors? I guess. Will they come with designs on them? Why not? Different colors, stripes, check boxes, you know, like this. I don't know. You know? Will we have rabbinically approved food called kosher? Oh, no way. We're not letting the rabbis suck into our money for that stuff. That ain't happening. Let me think. Are we going to have motor vehicles? I think so. I'm basing that on dreams I had. Then I don't like doing that, but I think we will. I think. I don't want you to take that one to the bank. I think so. Are we going to have electricity? I don't know. I don't know. I think so, but I don't know so. I can't tell you. Pray. Ask the Lord. I'm thinking. Will there be an internet? I doubt it. A lot of the stuff on the internet is left over from Satan's government, you know, his movies, his this, his that. There's no room for it. False knowledge and stuff. I think it'll be gone. The banking will be gone. The internet will be gone. Will lots and lots of people come to Israel? Yep. Yeah, constantly. So will we have innkeepers or B&Bs or whatever, hotels? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Could that be a business model for somebody? Yeah, it says blessed in the city, blessed in the country. Blessed when you're coming, blessed when you're going. So is it an expectation that some of us may open up a sandal shop or factory or a clothing store or factory or restaurants? Yeah, yeah, I think so. What about hotels? I think so. Maybe we call them inns, an innkeeper. It might be like in the old Western movies, like after the Civil War, where you'd go to the town and you would go to the hotel and you would say, yeah, I want to get a room. And then you'd pay for a room, and then you'd find out that dinner at a certain period of time is served in that extra room called the waste place. No, it wouldn't be called the waste place. It would be you would have a hotel room, probably with a bath, and then downstairs, if you wanted to eat, they'd have food, a dining room, maybe a buffet, I don't know. And they'd probably have a sitting room, you know, stuff like that. Are there going to be sports in Israel? Well, I can tell you there's going to be nothing like what it is in when Satan's a god of this age, where people are infatuated with their teams and sports, nothing like that. Do I think we'll have organized sports? No. Will people organize camel races, horse races, stuff like that? Yeah, it could be for recreation or something, but it's not going to be betting. We're not going to do betting on things. Game of chance betting is not right. We're not going to do that. We're not going to have lotteries. We're not going to have gambling. Okay, that's gone. That's finished. It's not going on. That's not going to happen. Are we going to have narcotic stuff running around? No. Who's going to buy them? You know, they're not going to have that. Will we have wine? Yeah. I guess you'll have white wine, you'll have red wine, and you'll have blend, rosé, and you'll have different flavors and strengths and stuff, I guess. They make wine out of, I think, dates. There's other things they make it out of, too. So there'll be wine, alcohol content wine. Beer, too, I imagine. Will they still eat falafel? Oh, I don't think they're going to get away from falafel. It's a chickpea paste rolled into a ball, put into a thing of hot oil, and it's burned and turned brown on the edges. They take the pita bread, which is round, and they slice off a little piece of the top. Then you got to put your hand or the knife in very gingerly and separate both sides of the bread, and you have a hollow pocket. And then you put things in it that you want to eat, like when you buy a falafel, you get 5 falafel balls. They're about like that, and then you would be putting in other condiments that well, not really condiments, other extras, like I like fried eggplant, French fried potatoes they put in, pickles they put in, Israeli salad they put in, what else? Many other things. There's a lot of stuff they put in there. And your little that's one dish. They have another dish called shawarma. It is, I think, turkey and chicken meat that's formed. So it's not cut off the bird. It's a formed meat. So that's like lower grade. And they make it in a big slab about that wide and 3 feet high, and it mounts. It's like a vertical rotisserie, and it spins, and it has these hot coils that keep it cooked. And the guy at the store cuts the slivers of the meat off on the outside of this slab, and then it exposes a new layer of meat, which gets cooked by the spinning around in front of the electrodes. They put it in the pita bread with the condiments. Is it really good? No, I don't think so. It's more expensive, but it's good enough. Once in a while, I'll buy a plastic bag of the shawarma meat. It comes in squared strips. And I'll take it and throw it in a frying pan with butter or oil or something and cook it that way. And then just eat it without sticking it in the pita and all that. But it's not that great. It's all right, but I'm not crazy for it. Falafel is way more popular, Will we travel? I think so. Where are we going to go with all the nations destroyed? That's a good question. You got me. I don't know. But I imagine you'll be traveling. You'll probably want to just travel around Israel and see the whole place. Will we have boats? Yeah, I guess some of us will. Sure. Why not? What's wrong with a boat? Nothing. Will we be eating a lot of fish? I think a lot of fish. Yeah. Is the fish good? Oh yeah, it's fine. You don't have to worry about the fish. The rabbis don't monkey with the fish. They don't salt it and wash it and do the rabbinical Talmudic cleansing to it. They don't do that. So what do they take the fish and they grill it often. You got to learn how to pull the bones out. That's the only downside. You got to get the bones out. But then you're fine with the fish. Have I ever seen fish and chips in Israel? No. That's kind of a junky way of eating fish, though. Fruits are good, vegetables are good. You got so very many fruits and vegetables to pick from here. You're not going to get bored. Tons of them, full gamut. Don't worry about it. Loads of them. Chicken is a big thing here. Turkey used to be 30, 40 years ago. It dropped off. My little dogs love turkey. I don't mind turkey. But it used to be really popular. It's called hodu. And we used to have a saying, we got a hodu, vahodu, vahodu. It means turkey with turkey with turkey. Because so many things were made out of turkey, but that went away. I don't understand why. But yeah, you still come across turkey meat. Quail, rare. Cornish game hen, rarer yet. Pasta, yeah, but it's mostly simplex pasta, like spaghetti, lasagna noodles, and real simple pasta stuff. Is the pasta good? Yeah, as good as any other pasta. Is it on a level of like the Italian restaurant in Italy or New York that makes his own noodles fresh every day? Oh gosh, no, it's not on that level. Sushi, yeah, we got it here. There's a lot of salmon sushi. You could have the salmon cooked, grilled or something, and put on the sushi on the rice, or it could be just fresh sushi. They use other fish too, whitefish of kinds. Based on the Bible with the fish with Moses, that's the kind of fish they sell here now. What you see now. And they got vegetable sushi, which honestly is pretty cool. I mean, you get like avocado in there. You could get some kind of onion or scallion in there. Corn, potato. They put all kinds of stuff. Look, one thing I'll tell you that's gross and disgusting right now, and I hope you don't have to try it to find out, is putting kernels of corn on pizza. I hope you enjoy it. What's worse than that, and I mean grotesque, I will call this grotesque food, tuna on pizza. Now, that meets Moses. Lord, no issue, but the tuna gets baked on the pizza in the pizza oven, and it has a stench that clashes with the cheese and the tomato. Oh, it's terrible. I had it once. I'd never do it again. It's just pathetic. It really is. Can you get onion on your pizza, garlic on your pizza? Sure. Peppers, like red pepper, yellow pepper. Yeah, they got that. Double cheese. The cheese in Israel is excellent, by the way. You're not going to be hurting for cheese. The yogurt, I mean, you go to the supermarket, you got 80, 90 different, or 60 or some crazy number, how many different kinds of yogurts. I don't know, if you're really into yogurt, you might really have a good time with the yogurt. I would rather eat the cheese, but, as far as yogurt go, it's a yogurt paradise. Breads, Israel has great breads, anything you want. 10-grain bread, rye bread, wheat bread, bread made out of moon rock. No, I'm kidding. They don't have that. You get all kinds of bread. You might see 25, 30 different kinds of bread in the supermarket. If you go to the bakery, you might see even more than that. I mean, they got bread, on bread, over bread, with bread, brown bread, this bread, sliced bread, not sliced bread, roll bread. Anything you want, I think you'll find with bread. Sourdough, rye bread. I mean, I've learned to like the pita bread. the glycemic index on the pita bread is way lower than regular bread, so it's really not an unhealthy bread. Okay? And we get pretty good butter here. Not pretty good, very good to excellent butter. So I'll just take butter out of the fridge where it's cold, cut pieces of it, put it on the pita bread, or even inside the pita bread is better, and then put it in the microwave for 15 seconds or 10 seconds so it heats up and melts the butter. And that's good for me. I enjoy that. You might not, but I do. The frozen pizza here in Israel is, I don't know, where do you ever get good frozen pizza? Nowhere, really, I don't think. So what we do with it is we put meat on it, like sandwich meat, whatever we have there, chicken, turkey, beef, pieces of beef hot dogs maybe. And I'll get garlic on the thing. I'll find a way to get garlic on it. And yeah, you put it in the, and I usually use the regular oven, and it's okay. I want to caution you about something that you'll find shocking in Israel in the realm of pizza. There's no sin here. This is, we're talking personal preferences. And for most of you in Europe and America, or especially in America, you're going to think this also is revolting. They put ketchup on their pizza after they make it, like Heinz ketchup, regular ketchup, like you put on hamburgers and French fries, that kind of ketchup. They put it on their pizza to enhance the flavor. It's fairly ridiculous, disgusting to Americans, you know. Just gotta remember that. Chicken wings here now today are garbage food. The people don't buy them, but we do. They're cheap. I mean, they're really cheap. Cheap. And there's nothing wrong with them. But we buy them frequently. Why the heck not? They're good. You like chicken wings, don't you? If you're in America, yeah, so do we. Hamburgers, yeah, they're okay here. They don't have the art of the hamburger down. But they're not that bad either. Lamb, oh, that's good. Now, you get little strips of lamb. You got to go to the right butcher, and they sell them, lamb strips. And it looks just like a strip of bacon, except it comes from lamb. And you put it in a skillet. We use a cast iron usually with some grease, butter, or olive oil. Or, you know, we don't use the unhealthy oil. Butter works fine. And you cook them up. And you can put them on eggs. Or you can cook them with your eggs too, no problem. Do they taste as good as bacon? They taste better. They're so good. You could just make them and sit there and just hold them and eat them without anything else. They're great. Lamb breakfast strips. And we also are known to have the butcher cut that out of beef. And if I was going to pick between the lamb and the beef, I think the lamb's better. They're both good, but the lamb's better. Really good. Nobody's selling bacon in Israel. I'm not going to get anywhere. That I know of. I never went looking for it. Sodas they got here, everything you got in America, I guess. But sodas are not healthy for you as far as I know, but they got everything. And they got all those sweet high glycemic index junk foods like a liter of strawberry soda or pineapple soda. You got all that stuff. I think it's disgusting, but you get all of that you want. Coffee, we got all kinds of coffee from all over the world. Arabic coffee is very strong. Some people have a type of Arabic coffee called mud. I think it hails out of Turkey, of other places, and it's drank in a small cup like espresso, but it's mud. It's like the texture of ketchup, you know, maybe a little thicker, and it has a lot of caffeine, and I think it's disgusting. It's hard to drink it, but you might like it. But they got all kinds. They got freeze-dried coffee, they got instant coffee, they got drip coffee, they got capsules coffee, they got fresh ground coffee. They got it from many different countries in the world, and you should be able to get any kind of coffee you want. And with tea, same thing. Wachowski's tea, get any kind of tea you're gonna want, you'll find it here, I imagine. Mustard, we got all different kinds of mustard. Great mustard from around the world. Really good mustards. You don't have to worry about mustard. Salt. Now today in Israel, you can get all the healthy salts. You know, the sea salts that are healthy and all that. You can get all of that. People like to cook outside on little grills, and they use charcoal briquettes. And what's very popular with them is skewers. A skewer is a metal piece that's, I don't know, 18 inches, something like that. 15, 18 inches, I'm guessing. And you can get a round one, some have four sides, they have a handle. They take the skewer and they put it over the grill with the charcoal. And on the skewer, they'll put, what do you usually see? Generally, you see beef or chicken. They usually won't, on the same skewer, put beef and chicken. It wouldn't break any of their Talmud or anything like that. They just don't do it. But you might go into a restaurant and order 4 skewers and get 2 chicken and 2 beef, but they wouldn't be on the same skewer. So on there, they'll put tomatoes, usually the little tomatoes, sometimes not so little tomatoes, or a fourth of a bigger tomato. Do they put pineapple on it? No. Would that be a good idea? Probably, but I don't see it. But it would probably taste good. They put peppers, like red, or the yellow or the green pepper. Yeah, they'll put that on there. And onion. So you'll have a piece of meat like this, or maybe it'll be more like that, or maybe more like that. And then it'll have some kind of vegetable on it, and then another piece, and then rotate it. Then you put it on the grill and you turn it until you cook it. Then you could put it on a plate and eat it. If you're a pig, you could eat it right off the skewer, you know. That's in poor taste. That's not suggested. Or you could take your pita bread and cut the top up and make a pouch, and then, you know, slide all the stuff off the skewer into your pita bread and put tahina in there, or hummus in there, or a hot sauce in there, or all of the above in there. And you could put eggplant on your slices, eggplant on your skewer too, and have baked fried eggplant in there, which is great in my book. You could put French fries in there, potatoes. You could do mushrooms, but they usually don't do mushrooms on that. On pizza, they put mushroom. They won't put meat on the pizza. That should change when redemption comes. So we're not getting, you know, pizza with meat, but you certainly know there's no reason why you can't. So people will probably start putting meat on the pizza, and I'm thinking now with those lamb strips on pizza would be phenomenal. Salami, they have it here but you got to really hunt it down. Most of the salami is a soft salami, where most of the salami in America is a hard salami. The salami here is soft like bologna, which in America is soft. If you dig around, you could find hard salamis, but they're a little on the thin side. And they taste pretty good. You can get that. Stores got tons of that stuff. They got them with garlic, they got them with flavor, and oh yeah, they got all that. Cheeses, there's so much cheese to pick from here, you would be in shock. None of the cheeses I ever get here are as good as Swiss cheese from Europe. I never get that, but it's okay, Swiss cheese. But there's so many other cheeses they have that are fantastic. Hard cheeses, soft cheeses, white cheeses, yellow cheeses, you know, anything. Just wearing sandals would be, I expect, rather popular here. For some reason, when it's hot outside, 90 plus, and you're wearing sandals, you stay a lot cooler than if you're wearing running shoes or closed shoes. I don't know why, but it seems to be the case. When you come in the house, your feet are dirty, and that's why you hear all this washing the feet stuff in the Bible, I believe. Now, I don't know what they wore in the winter. Jerusalem's cold. It's 2,500 feet up. So unless God changes the weather, I don't think you'd want to wear sandals around there. So you'd have to wear something like a bootie or something. I don't know. I imagine the Lord will lead us as to what to do. But you'd probably be wearing sandals, you know, maybe as much as 7-8 months a year. There's all different kinds, you know. I'm sure if you didn't want to wear sandals, you don't have to. You know. So a lot of the stuff that we're used to in the world isn't going to be around. I don't think the sicko TV shows will be around, the sicko internet, the sicko amusement parks. That stuff will be gone. I don't see us having zoos because it's cruel to the animals. So I don't think we'll have zoos. People will have pets, I expect. I don't see why they wouldn't. You might find yourself with horses and camels. Horses are a lot. They'll both be friendly to you, but they're not going to be like a dog or a cat, you know. We're not going to be voting in elections here. That's not going to happen. The money's going to be hard currency, hard money, gold, silver, hard, the coin. Okay. We're not going to have banks as we know it today, so I don't know what we do with our money. Probably keep it in the house. You'll find you have servants there all the time, so you'll be okay. There's not going to be a crime rate as we know it. It's just not going to be existent. I don't think we're going to have hospitals and doctors the way we know it with pharmacies. I think that's all gone. Won't need it. Maybe in the world it'll go on, but we're not going to need it. I don't believe kids are going to go to school as we know it. That's Satan's school system. You hated it when you went, didn't you? Every kid does. It's horrible. Satan goes after you when you're young. It starts beating you down. Submit to the government. The school's the government. Submission, submission, submission. And this business of the government, you serve the government, that's going to be gone. You serve the Lord, you don't serve the government. The government is a service to the people. They'll clean the streets, they'll take care of water and sewage, things like this. They're not going to, going around writing $800 traffic tickets. Come on. That's Satan. That's not a normal way to live a country. That's Satan's concoction. All right, let me see what I got going on here in the chat. Why not buy the USA? Yeah, maybe Trump will sell it to you. I don't know. He might. Okay. Trying to think of other things I could tell you about. A lot of the housing here is apartments right now. That'll probably change. And the apartments are not very spacious, and they're generally, most of them, they're all luxury apartments, but most of them are very sparse. They're good enough size, but they're not luxurious. Most of the homes are not insulated. Why they do that, I have no idea, but they're not insulated. So that's a problem in the winter and the summer. They're made out of brick, concrete rather, I should say. The roof's concrete and tile, the floor's tile, the walls are poured concrete or block, and the houses are designed to stay probably 15 degrees colder than what it is outside. So that works to your advantage in the 7 or so months of the warm weather, and it works against you for the 5 months. Most of the people don't use carpets, but you certainly could. When you're in America and you have an insulated house and you got central heat, which almost no house in Israel has, central air and central heat is rare here. So in America, you've got your thermostat, and you put it on in the winter, I don't know, 68, 70, whatever you like, and it maintains the temperature. You're not going to catch that in Israel. Now they sell these radiator heaters. I got one, and they're cheap. You plug it in, it's electric, and it has the thermostat, and it keeps the temperature in the room right about that level. So when it gets a little warm, it shuts off, and then when it gets a little cool, it comes back on. Kind of nice. We don't have hot water heaters the way you do in the States with the gas on all the time. So we have our hot water heaters on the roof, and they all have a solar component, and when it's warm enough and the sun is out, it'll give you scalding hot water if you want it. But in the winter it won't. You have to use the electric. They call a hot water heater a dude. Dude Shemish is the solar. I guess you'd say dude Hasmal, the electric. And it could take 15 to 45 minutes to heat the water up. If you're in a 48 degrees, 52 degrees, cloudy, rainy day, you got to heat the water up with about a 2-hour window from when you want to take a shower. Because after about 2 hours, the water's going to start to cool off too much. You're going to have to heat it up again. So, you know, I'm proud to say I didn't see one single Santa or one single reindeer or sled or, you know, Rudolph with your nose so red. And I didn't see any of that in Israel this year. Isn't that great? Not any of it. Nothing. Nothing. The people here know it exists, but they don't know what it is. They also know Thanksgiving exists, but they're not real sure what it is. And that's nice, because I don't care for that. Easter, I don't even think they know what Easter is here. That's a rare one for them. They don't get it. So we go into Hanukkah. I do not believe the government offices are closed for Hanukkah. And so it's sort of a soft holiday. Remember, Hanukkah is not in the Bible. It is mentioned as the Festival of Lights, but it's not in the Bible, and that we're never told to celebrate it. So it's not a biblical holiday. And it's like in America. They have a menorah, they light an extra candle every night, they give the kids presents, stuff like that. They drive on the same side of the road here as America, but the road signs and all that stuff match Europe. They don't line up with America. Okay, so that's what I got for today. I'll keep you guys updated. I do expect us to attack Yemen any minute. Okay, it's going to be a big one. And I don't know what will happen after that. And we may also hit Iran. And Israel is the type, they might hit Iran and Yemen simultaneously. Don't know. They may also come to the conclusion to just do it in the same day. It's not worth it to try to coordinate that cause. So, please pray for me and my wife for peace, safety, joy, protection, health, healing. Pray for our animals and pets to be happy, healthy, and whole. They're all rescues. Pray for our finances. Pray for better videos. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem or Yerushalayim. And I got my email address in there if you want to ask me questions about stuff like this. It's Israel Giving, one word, Israel Giving with the number 7 at the end at gmail.com. You could send me questions and I'll try to answer them. I don't know if I'll answer them. If I can answer every question. If I can't, I'll tell you. I don't know. You know, like, are we going to have jet airliners in redemption? I don't know. I don't know. You know, there's a lot of stuff I don't know. I could write a big book. Things I don't know about the Bible, but who would buy it? I don't want to write a book anyway. But I mean, you know, I don't know. Things are going to change. Things will be different. Your lifestyle will be much more different. You're going to be living here in redemption surrounded by believers, the complete opposite of what you've gone through. Oh, I want to show you why. I have to do this, but let's do it. Why we're all so busted up. And we are busted up. I talk to a lot of you. Well, I communicate on the internet, and we're busted up. in many different ways. We're not spiritually busted up in general, no. We're oppressed spiritually, but physically we're busted up too. We're busted up in general. But we go to the last verse, I think it is, in Revelation 12. And the dragon, which is Satan, was wroth with the woman, which is Israel. And if you're a believer of any national origin or descent or whatever, you're in Israel. With the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Who's her seed? Yeshua is her seed. Now, when you're in Yeshua, you're the seed, the remnant. The remnant of her seed, and now it defines it, which keep the commandments of God, that's the law, and have the testimony of Yeshua HaMashiach. So you're keeping the law and you got the New Testament. The testimony of Yeshua HaMashiach is really the spirit of prophecy. I believe there's a scripture to that effect. And we get plenty of prophecy here, don't we? So that's who he goes after. The people squatting in the churches on Sunday, you know, sitting there going, holy, holy, holy. You know, he's not making war with them. What's he got to bother with them for? So, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. That's the Shema. And I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I hope you got something out of this, and I'm out. And if you want to suggest topics for me to cover in the live streams, just send an email in. I can't guarantee I'll do all of them, but just send it in. And pray that we get more insight onto Trump, you know, bringing into America, Canada, and Mexico and Greenland, because that would, if it does happen and it happens quick, which I don't think it will, but remember Syria fell in 11 days. Let's not get caught speeding here, okay? That's a figure of speech. So if it did happen, what are the implications of Jeremiah 50:51? We need to pray about that. And I'm out. Thanks.